So there's another reason for recording. There were some people who couldn't join us, and then they also need to see the recording. So it would be best if you can just leave your camera on so that they will know who they're working with. And yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to upload you. We can blur your face or whatever you're comfortable with. So can we go now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So now we're going to be starting. Welcome everyone to our official opening ceremony for our first forum. As I said before, my name is Seda Kamal. And like many of you around this world, COVID has impacted my life physically and psychologically. Enduring the drastic change that forced itself upon my life and our lives in general, I never came across an organization or a union that advocates for us youth in the manner of the COVID-19 pandemic. So this question came up: why would we not start it ourselves? So that is when the big idea came up. We started REVIR with the intention of shedding light on the pandemic from a youth perspective, building a safe community for all ages, ethnicities, and nationalities. Okay. We're gonna give all of you guys, and this is where your role comes in, and an opportunity to tell your story and tell what has been occurring on your lives and what has been occurring on your countries ever since this pandemic started. Continuing on with our forum, I would like to introduce our founder, Kion.
Hi, hello everyone. First of all, welcome to REVIR. My name is Kion Ko and I'm the founder of REVIR. It is past 4 a.m. here in Korea, so I might sound sleepy, but bear with me. I'll try my best not to twist my tongue. So back to where we are. Yeah, that being said, because of the time zone, we divided up the sessions into two. So if you want to contact any of the country representatives from session A, you could do that via Discord off topic to get to know each other better. Okay, back to where we were. It is my distinct pleasure to cordially invite you to our first official REVIR report writing camp. COVID-19, a grave boulder that stood in our way, also became a historical chance to learn how to come together and unite in overcoming this global challenge. It attested to us many of the areas we need to work together to improve as a planet, from resource inequalities to improving universal access to technology. My COVID-19 story will not be as dramatic as those who actually got infected, but neither directly involved nor perpetrator. I have not experienced personal disruptions from COVID, rather have experienced indirect consequences: hybrid online learning, acquaintances infection, and canceled school events. Never disregarding how unfortunate this whole situation is, however, a slightly different perspective was established within myself. I actually enjoyed the so-called quarantine era. As the world has gone significantly remote, the time and distance have become fluid. Our lives and times, initially hectic, became more in control. A special moment occurred to me after noticing all these sudden changes. I realized that we could take advantage of what the situation has unexpectedly provided us. I started off my quarantine journey by exercising 1 hour every day with YouTube videos, or taking a walk into the forest behind my apartment. Though KF94 nearly suffocated my breath, and anxiety for infection ebbed through the relaxing pace of my life. Such daily positive impacts surely empowered me in regards to self-care, but in my intrinsic nature of minding others' business sparked a curiosity. How do other people in the world, people who are in different age with me, low-income earners who struggle to afford necessities, entrepreneurs who run businesses, patients who are vulnerable to health issues, live in this COVID-19 era? I started to bring the student population together to look at the world as one, to really figure out in what ways we can cooperate to address a global pandemic. And it turns out that COVID initiated a student justice alliance named REVIR. At REVIR, we strive to look at the data objectively and work on impacting the world by providing root solutions. Participating in this global initiative will be a priceless opportunity to share your perspectives and experiences with student representatives from 30+ countries. Having survived the pandemic, we are at a crossroad. We can either forget and move on, or come together and become stronger. I'm grateful that all of you have chosen the latter path. One additional thing, I cannot guarantee that this forum will be successful. There will be a lot of setbacks that might hinder us from accumulating perfect reports. Internet issues may abound, unexpected mistakes may happen, or unfortunate application may occur. But please keep in mind that the leaders and members of REVIR, despite numerous challenges we faced, have worked tirelessly to construct this youth organization and make this initiative happen. We believe in our ability to voice your opinions and research out to the world, which eventually will bring a positive change amidst this chaos. Thank you so much for your participation and enthusiasm in REVIR. This was your founder, Kayon Ko.
Thank
Thank
Kyle.
you.
That was a really moving and inspiring message. And now talking about moving and inspiring, many young adults today come out of their comfort zones in order to do something beneficial for the community today, doing some voluntary work. And now one of these people we came across is Naomi Porter, who is with us today. Naomi Porter is an entrepreneur, student leader, and a public speaker. And she has been in this business since the age of 11, when she started some of her companies. Now, I'll let her introduce herself and kindly motivate you throughout this whole forum. So without further ado, Naomi, I'll leave you the stage. You can take it away.
Yes, thank you so much. So hello, everyone. My name is Naomi Porter. I'm Zooming to you from Los Angeles, California. So I just got out of church. It's 11 a.m. for me. But wherever you are, thank you for making this a priority in your day. I'm so excited to speak with all of you a little bit more. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about my activist journey and kind of how COVID really shifted that for me. So I started my first businesses when I was 11 and 13. They were going strong. I was a young entrepreneur and I was loving every aspect of business. I had a couple of failures, I think, as the founder was mentioning, which we all do inevitably, but I ended up persevering and overcoming them. But then COVID happened, right? And so for me, that was March when everything really got shut down, especially in Los Angeles, because we were at a hot spot. And so I couldn't really go out of my house. I was worried if just going a simple walk around the neighborhood, would that, inevitably be horrible for my family? We didn't even go to the grocery store for about 6 months. We ordered food. We had the luxury of being able to do that, but we were protecting loved ones who inevitably did pass because of COVID. And so there has been a lot of loss. And that's inevitable with a global pandemic. There is a lot of loss, but there also is so much to gain from COVID. And so for me, that was on a personal level. I was able to gain the gift of an international community. All of a sudden, it didn't matter that the people who I went to school with weren't necessarily my best friends, because I could see people virtually. All of a sudden, it didn't matter if I knew my next door neighbors, because I had virtual connection. Like we're doing today, virtual conversations, growing the human are so important to now who I am today. And I really wouldn't change a thing about that. And so COVID as a whole is what I would like to consider a great reset. It's a time for people to reevaluate what their beliefs are. It's a time for people to reevaluate what their priorities are. And it's a time to reevaluate what you want to do with these next stages in your life. And so for all of you here today, I hope that that's taking your journey, your personal journey, to another level. I hope that that's learning from your peers about what it takes to be a global citizen. And I hope that that's taking advantages of opportunities that you see, both virtual and in person, because the more that you expose yourself to the world, the more likely you are to succeed. And so with that, I actually bring an opportunity to all of you here today. For my last little part, and I'll let you guys continue the rest of your amazing program, is actually an opportunity to connect with a global community and become part of a team of 125 youth from 31 countries and become an ambassador for EntrepreYOUership, which works to widen access to entrepreneurial education. And so we are a diverse team. We host startup funding competitions. We have a huge Discord channel. We have so many ways for people to connect. And this organization has been huge for me because I have been able to connect with people from all around the world as we work to figure out different ways to educate young minds. And so whatever that looks like for you, we have a place for you on our team, and we want you to join us, and we want you to take your activism, your entrepreneurship, and your journey to another level. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, and I'm more than happy to respond to you. And we would love to have you to be a part of our team. And so I'll type that in the chat. And with that, I will hand it back to the founders. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Naomi, for that lovely speech. It was so inspiring. So now that we're in that inspiring mindset, let's get down to business. So now I'm going to share all the necessary information about the goal of this camp, which is writing a big report that's going to reveal the truth about the world. So without further ado, we can go to our next slide. So first, we outlined a couple of main objectives with this report, and that are some rules that are considered rules of academic honesty, which means that no plagiarism is allowed. And by plagiarism, I mean anything that's like taking other people's word without giving them credit for thinking of those words would be considered plagiarism and would not be tolerated in any way. Second rule is proper citation, which we will talk in detail a bit later. And the third rule is about the word count, which we have labeled in each section of the report, so it is easier for you to write it. So the deadline for the report is going to be on September 4th at 13 GMT, which is labeled in the presentation, as you can see. Next slide, please. So this picture on this slide is actually from a document that we are going to share with you as the camp proceeds. And this document has all the necessary forms that you will copy into your country's folder, which is basically the universal form of the report that you're going to fill in by answering the questions that are asked from you in each section. And you are going to answer those questions within the word count that we have labeled, not going away from the word count more than 30 words plus minus. So you also have a document called the planning sheet, which is going to be used for you tracking your progress and assigning tasks within your team. Some of you may not have a team member, but they are the only person for your country. If you do have a team member, you're going to have a meeting with your supervisor and the rest of your team members so that you can discuss the division of the tasks within the report. And the last thing is the overall progress sheet, which is going to be with all the countries together so that we can see whether you need help with something and we can pop in whenever you want us. The fourth thing is the country representative exemplar, which you can refer to as an example of how you should write a good report, although we have two different type of exemplars, which one is a good report and the other one is a bad report. So I encourage you to go to the bad report first to see which practice is encouraged and which is considered not as favorable, so that you know what exactly are you targeting for when you are writing the report. So as far as generic rules go, it's the word count that we have labeled, the font size, type of the font, citation format, and the tools you can use for that citation format, which is labeled in the document, so I will not explain it specifically. So as I have said, plagiarism is not going to be tolerated in any way. and all forms of misrepresentation in academic work, including any form of plagiarism, that is not going to be tolerated in any sense. So we are here as supervisor to correct that and to help you cite your sources properly so that there won't be any academic misconduct. So the first thing you need to do when you write the report is change the section where it says your country into the actual name of your country, and you can write your names below. So concerning the topic of names, since some countries are more liberal than others, or I would say that some other regimes are not as liberal, if it means anything to you, you can take credit for your work by doing this. So this report is some type of expose, I would say, for certain things that are portrayed differently in the media than what they are in real life. And that's why we are encouraging you to share your personal stories. So if that may get you in trouble, we say that you can feel free to put your name down at the report and take credit for it, put just your initials, or completely like go anonymous if that is okay with you, if that's more comfortable, so that you don't get into legal trouble, because there are different standards in different countries and we would not like to compromise your future just because of our goals. So we respect that first, and then we're going into this mission of ours to write the report. So like I said, citation format is MLA 8 format, which you can use at the which you can cite through citation machine and or all other links that we have left you in the document, and we can also help you with it if you have any troubles. Next, the topic of the word count. Like I said, the slight deviation from instructed word count is going to be accepted, but please try to withstand from it. And as far as the data that you're going to use goes, we divided it into 2 parts, but we encourage you to combine the 2. So we have qualitative and quantitative data, which is basically all the numbers that you can get and all the feelings, evaluation, everything that you got from your personal experience. So we say you give a balance of those 2 for certain sections, like when there is the talk about economic situation or health cases, then quantitative data is, let's say, favorable, but when it's the part of personal anecdote, it's more the qualitative data that we need. So we're going to discuss that further in the breakout rooms once we go into the actual detail of the report. Next slide, please. Okay, the last thing, and that is the appendices. So everything that you find online that you may think it's important to put in the report, but you don't actually have the place or whatever, you drop it in the appendices and you write appendix A, B, C, D, however you want to name it, 1, 2, 3. And you just give the name of the graph. For example, here we have bar graph of Iran's GDP, but it can be anything, a graph, a table, a resource article, whatever. If you want to refer back to it in your report, you should write appendix A, then the name of the appendix, and then give your explanation why I'm referring back to this. And the last thing I have already mentioned is the deadline for submission, and we agreed on it to be on September 4th, no later than 13 GMT. And we would kindly request of you to schedule the supervisor meetings by, for example, September 2nd, so that we won't get ourselves in the situation where your reports are not revised by the time you have to prepare them. One last thing is the presentation, which Fenzia, I think, is going to continue on.
Thank you, Millie. It is the vision and the purpose of REVIR to share our COVID-19 stories with students across the globe. We don't want you to be sitting down, writing reports, and then leave. Rather, we would like you to share your research to other country representatives about your personal experiences, a brief overview of your results for your qualitative and quantitative research you'll conduct throughout the week. Henceforth, I would like to explain you how you should be presenting your findings during your closure session. The media and design team have created a presentation template for the country representatives to make a copy. This will be the fixated template that you should be using for your presentation on the day of our closure. The media and design team will have compacted all elements that are researched in the report into this template. No additional research is required. You are visualizing your report here. We have written down the steps to be taken for you to easily follow for each slide. Please be aware that the maximum time given to each country representatives will be no more than 5 minutes. That means you may want to selectively choose the information that you think it's worth sharing to the world. The sections that you must include in the presentation are the personal anecdote, second, short remark about the process of report writing, for which no slides are required, and hope as a youth. You don't have to include the quantitative data, but the slides are ready for you in case there is some information that you find crucial to share. Your presentation should be ready before the closure you are to attend, since you will be presenting with those slides. This is it. Now I will give the floor to Amika.
Thank you, Fanzia. Now that you've gained an insight into our ultimate outcomes, we might as well like to get to know how to get in touch with our community. And the easiest way to do so is through our Discord server. For those of you who do not know what Discord is, it's the easiest way to talk over voice, video, and text. Chat, text, hang out, and stay close with your friends and communities. Text channels are there for REVIR users to chat with for various purposes, and separate channels are created for all topics. Your group likes to talk from meeting times and tasks to casual discussions. These channels keep conversations organized and give everyone plenty of room to talk to. We have a special announcements channel to appreciate the big and small achievements of REVIR and appreciate the work of different team members. Voice channels are there where you can hang out over voice and video. No calling or ringing is required. Just click on the voice channel to enter it. Team members in the server will see that you're there and they'll pop in to wave hello or to clear any doubts you have. If you haven't changed your name to what we've asked you to do so, please do so after this session. That's it from me. And now we'll explain you about our website.
Hi everyone, thank you, Amika. I'm pretty sure some of you might still be unfamiliar with how to approach our resources. The guidelines were already sent through the welcoming email, but they are also available on the section Activities report of our website. It is really important that you peruse every single guideline. They will answer all of your potential questions. When given time to write your report, you will have to contact your supervisors to book private feedback sessions or ask any questions about your report. In order to do so, our website comprises of all the contact information for our team leaders. First, find the About from the menu. For the PC, the menu is on the top bar, while for the mobile, you need to click the triple bar to see the menu. Put your cursor on the About menu or click it if you are using the mobile version, and you will see the sub-menu named Our Team. Click it and the contact information buttons will appear for all leaders. Second thing, for those of you who haven't joined our Discord channel, you can join REVIR's Discord channel through several ways. You can simply click the Discord icon on the top bar, or you can go to the home page and scroll down to the bottom where you can find the Join our Discord button. Either way, you can access the Discord channel successfully. If you have any questions regarding access to REVIR's website or location of resources, feel free to message me or Dongha, who is the website leader, via Discord or email. This is it for me.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, I also sent the link in the chat, so you can check that out. I also sent the Discord server invite, so you can use those links.
So now that we have gotten this formal stuff out of the way, the report writing, contacting, and all the boring part, we can go off to some of the activities we have prepared as an icebreakers. So I hope they will actually break the ice and start a conversation with you guys. So we're going to go to our first activity, and we have prepared some type of an association game, let's say. So I'm going to Ariaka is going to send you the link in the chat box, and you're going to open it and type your associations to COVID-19. And Vamika is going to share the screen with all the words that pop up. We're going to read them out, and whoever said the word is going to explain why they associate the word with COVID-19. And I mean, if you say quarantine, I get why you do that. So try to be atypical and say something that is only special to you, maybe something that you have went through with COVID-19. And please share your story with us. Can somebody explain what KF94 means?
That's a mask type.
That makes sense, actually. Oh, death? Like, I would get if a person would want or not want to talk about that, because it's a scary topic, honestly. I think many of us have encountered at least somebody that they knew that died from COVID or something like that. So that's very sad and unfortunate. Adaptability? Who wrote that?
Me.
Would you want to elaborate?
Of course. Well, for me, adaptability is a word that can be related to the COVID situation, because it was a whole change since the pandemic started. So we all have to adapt to the ground we were on now. In my case, I had to find new ways on which I could help people do volunteer work, because I used to do that all the time. And when I was just in my home without being able to go out, I was just like, okay, what do I do now? So yeah.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, very much so. And new normals, definitely. Whoever wrote that, they're absolutely on point. What I wanted to ask is, who wrote self-care? Because I think we all lost track about what self-care means when the quarantine started. We kind of let our hair grow, like didn't go to do our nails, got lazy, stayed in pajama all day. So like, would the person who wrote self-care want to elaborate on it?
Yeah, actually, I wrote it because before that, I was really heavily into work for my junior college, and all I did was travel in the city from one district to another. But when the pandemic hit us, everything slowed down, right? And people were off work and studies for quite a long time. So I could just focus on myself and my skin and also my mental health. So I think self-care played a very important role for me, at least in the beginning. So positivity.
Yeah, assuming that you all have spent your time doing something like distracting yourself from all the bad stuff, I see people probably listen to music, went online, watched Netflix, like who didn't? But I saw cartoons. Who watches cartoons? What kind of cartoons you like?
I must say that during the pandemic, I really needed something that was really detached from what was going on. It was just too tiring to hear about your government doing things that do not help people. And just to zone out of school and everything else, I turned to something that was really great for me when I was younger. And I must say, I revisited too many things from my childhood, and Actually, it helped. I must say, I highly recommend that experience. It brings out the childhood nostalgia for you, and you feel better and more motivated to work because you don't have to think about the bad things that happened, but the good memories. Oh my god, the Owl House! The new season was great. I'm waiting for
Yeah,
the
do you
next
have any
one.
recommendations of what
I
we
must
should
say, I
revisit?
rewatched the whole Avatar: The Last Airbender show with The Legend of Korra, and then I also watched The Owl House, Rick and Morty from the first season to what is going on now. And I'm still searching for recommendations. If anyone has something good, please send me. I need it for the new school year.
You should watch Kipo. It's a series from Netflix and it's a cartoon too. It's really good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have another question. What's the lightning about? Who wrote that?
I wanted to ask who wrote Forests? Like
Yeah,
lightning and forests.
feel free to
This doesn't
share.
seem to, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote lightning.
Right, for us, actually. I don't know about you, but in my country, we were banned to go to forests. For some time, they decided that the open space is more dangerous than going to church. So we were allowed to go there if there were like 5 people inside, but we couldn't go out, even though we had masks or anything. So for that moment, all people could think about was going outside to those green areas. And when they let us go there again, there were so many people going to the forest just to breathe some fresh air, especially when they allowed us to not wear masks there. It was just so relaxing, and it was different than sitting in a really small apartment trapped with your whole family during online lessons. So for many people, just the forest was a place to feel free.
Very meaningful. And to connect to that, not to throw shade on Christians or anything, I'm Christian myself, but the thing with Christian countries, I don't know, I mean, Poland is Catholic, but here in Serbia, we are Orthodox Christians. Either way, we had our, like the main person in the church, the patriarch, he's called like that in Serbian language, he died due to COVID. But the thing was that regular people were to buried in like metal caskets that were like ripped off from the price. They were so expensive, and most of like regular earning people could not afford them without like stepping out of their way to get the money instantly, and they could have had like up to 10 people in their funeral. Whereas when the church person died, the whole nation, basically thousands and thousands of people gathered in the main like church in our capital city, and they all went to like kiss the casket because that's the like the tradition or whatever. But it was completely normal for him to have thousands of people in his funeral, and other people that were not even proven to be infected by COVID that died unfortunately had to have only 5 or 10 family members in their funeral, which was very, very sad. And I think those situations, those double standards is something we should talk about. So when I go back to the lightning part.
Lotando?
Yeah.
So lightning, for me, it's actually the most terrifying thing that happened during like the COVID era for me. It wasn't like the paranoia or the fear that got to me. It was this one incident. So in Zimbabwe, I don't know about other areas, but where I live, during the summer, there are 3 major storms that you have to get through. At least for me, I'm so paranoid about lightning, and I always have been since I was a kid. So much so that whenever there was a lightning storm, I'd always ask my family, guys, can't we just like leave, go into the city or something? But they'd always say no. And it was fine until this year, because nothing had ever happened during a storm or house storm, all of that. But it was one particular day, it wasn't even raining really heavily, but there was a lot of lightning. And then like, I felt it in the air. I was like, it's coming for us. And then like, there was this huge lightning like spark around my house, and I was like, oh, it's here. I told you guys we should have left. But we were fine. But I looked out my window and there was like a burning in the distance. So we started calling the neighbors to make sure they were okay. But then the next morning, what really got to me was that they said nothing happened to them. So I was like, did I dream this? But I was sure I didn't, because most of our plugs were fried.
So lightning just came up to me when you asked about like words that kind of come up to mind because of COVID-19, because that was one of the like weirdest things to ever happen to me in my life.
That's actually a very interesting story. I myself am not a big fan of lightning. Like whenever I heard the story about it, it's just like either somebody gets struck by it or something bad happened, like the whole tree went down or it broke, I don't know, the whatever thingy for signals. I don't know how it's called. Either way, lightnings are not nice to talk about, I guess. Oh, we have one word in the middle, and that's the word I wrote actually. It's REVIR, since this initiative, it wouldn't exist if it weren't for the COVID-19 pandemic. So I say that's one bright thing from all the bad things that have happened, that we are all here together and that we have joined over the same cause so that we can advance this society, I guess. So if anybody would want to share any of the words that they felt really connected to or wanted to ask about, feel free to do so now, and then we can continue to our next game.
Just feel free to raise your hands if you have any thoughts to share about your words that you wrote. And oh, didn't know that.
That's so cool. And we already had people from Turkey, but they did not mention that, I think. That's very cool. The idea behind REVIR was that it should be a short from reveal virus. But from revealing the virus part, it also goes beyond because it's a metaphor, since virus can be considered anything that attacks the society. So we want to reveal the truth, and that's basically our motto, to reveal the virus. So I think somebody raised their hand. I cannot see who right now. Okay. So would you like to share?
Yes, it was me. I actually just had a question. It was a question about what time meant for someone who wrote time. I just wanted to know more about that.
Elif?
It was me. So I wrote time because I lost my sense of time during lockdown. Like I would wake up, went to online class, usually lose my attention there, and then go to bed again. So I lost my sense of time, and I think most of you can relate to it too, because when you don't go out and plan anything for the future, you kind of lose your sense of time too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Elan. Like 1 hour was 10 seconds once I go into the tangent of Netflix and stuff. So if there's no one to share, without further ado, let's start with another activity called Would You Rather. This is kind of like a balance game. So we are going to ask you like, would you rather do this or that? So to do this, we wanted you to, Vamika, next slide, please. Yeah. If you don't know how to access Annotate, you can go into view options like on the top of the Zoom bar and then click Annotate. You will be able to stamp your parts. And then Vamika will show you 2 slides, which you may want to choose out of 2. So let's begin. First question is, would you rather have a 100% chance of receiving $1,000 or have a 50% chance of receiving $1 million? Just stamp right here. Yeah, I see some safety having 1,000%, I mean 100% of receiving $1,000. But I think the majority of us like gambling, having a 50% chance of receiving $1 million. Yeah, I think it's kind of half-half, but like 60% have a 50% chance of receiving $1 million.
And I have one question for the people who chose like the 100% chance. Can you guys please explain it to me? It's only $1,000, but then you have $1 million here.
I'm gonna go and explain this. I have to. Like, dude, secure money is secure money. If you are broke, $1,000 can be perfect. Like if you can get them at like you have your $1,000, it's fine, it's perfect. But the thing is, nobody said however many times you can try doing this. And if you do it enough, I mean, if you stamp on the button and get $1,000 each time you click, you're gonna receive $1,000 before you do the other thing. Because with probability, if you have a 50% chance of receiving $1 million, you can lose every time. Like that's not defined by mathematics. So from the scientific approach taken, I'd say secure money is secure money.
Alan?
Smart.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually was thinking about this, and considering the dollar, like $1 is R$5, like Brazilian currency, it's a lot for us. So I rather receive $1,000 for 100% chance.
Yeah, if we consider currency, then that would be the case.
I have to, since we touched the topic of currency, like $1 is actually 120 dinars over here. So like you get where we're at. Like that's completely, you can have an affordable life over here with everything, but if you compare the salaries, we are completely broke, like completely broke.
I think in this game, Sudan wins because of $1 here is 441. So we probably secured that place.
Okay, but I have to ask, would anybody go for the other option? Like, do you have an explanation why?
Just trust in the possibilities. Like it's a 50% chance. Maybe you get it and it's 1 million.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I agree.
So let's move on to next question. Would you rather be a prom king or queen or become a valedictorian? Would you prefer the honor of celebrity or the honor of maybe smartness or something like that? I prefer valedictorian. So we see a lot of
Alan's stamp move a lot.
Sorry.
Yeah, I see the majority of you chose valedictorian, and it's really interesting. Who chose be a prom king and queen? Sarah?
I would like to think that I'd want to live a fairy tale life. I think I'm very smart. I would like to believe I'm very smart. And I think a lot of people are very smart. But not everybody has the ability to be liked by people. I think being prom king or queen isn't about being the most beautiful person or having the most stunning dress. It's having the ability to be liked, quote, quote, by everybody, or being so social that everybody likes you. And I think everybody can be smart, but not everybody can have a connection with everybody. And so I think that everybody can have a stand a chance to be valedictorian. Like everyone can be an amazing speaker, everyone can stand to inspire people, but not everybody can have a connection with people so much so that they prefer you over other people. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Wow.
I agree with Sarah.
So inspiring.
I did not expect that answer, but it's so true. Alan was like, time out. What does he have to say?
Like we have this joke in Brazil, like not even Jesus pleased everyone. So I guess that applies for me at least, because like being a prom king, which is not common in Brazil, that never happens. It's kind of like one event that not everyone's going to remember, but being a valedictorian, everyone's going to remember this because they're basically saying to everyone in your whole school.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Carolina?
I'd say that it's because in Poland we do not have proms at all. We have one party which is called studniówka. It is 100 days before your baccalaureate. So it's just a big party, but there are no kings, no queens, no speeches. So there's no option for us for something like this, but also just to be able to talk to people, to speak your mind in front of everybody, all your teachers, and show them what you learned. is a lot, and you can just pass a lot of your knowledge you gathered throughout all those years and tell them, not just stand and get a plastic crown. I don't know why, but I just got that Mean Girls moment of that speech with that crown, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind whenever I hear prom queen, and I just can't see myself there.
Yeah, I pictured that kind of thing. Yeah, let's move on to the next question since we have a lot.
Before that, I want to ask something.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your name? Since you're from Poland, I'd guess it's Karolina, right?
Yes,
because Slavics
Karolina.
do. Yeah,
Slavics
that's what I
are
wanted to
similar.
clarify.
Okay, I'll get that. Next slide, please. Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or be the smartest person in the room? I think this applies to what Sarah responded later on. Yeah. Millie?
Yeah, this thing, I chose the left option because as Sarah said, I mean, not everybody can be smart, but let's say that everybody has the potential to do so. So I'd say for the funniest person in the room, that takes like that extra charm. And I've heard a comedian saying something like drama is fine. Like that's a specific genre of movie and it requires like very good acting and it makes you cry and everything. But like it said, like an onion can make you cry, right? No vegetable can make you laugh. So like it takes something extra to do comedy. And I think like funny people are very appreciated in the society.
Sarah?
And like also, I think anybody can be taught how to be smart. I don't think anybody's ever born dumb. Like I think anybody under the right tutoring can get like adequate smartness, but not everybody can be born funny. And again, I repeat, like those things, like people automatically think that just being smart is going to get you connections, but being charming, being able to make someone laugh can actually get you further in life than ever being smart can.
Oh my gosh, like every time you talk, I'm so inspired. Who emphasized with the green circle to be the smartest room? Like who disagrees with Sarah? Elif? Was it Elif? No? Okay.
Whoever wanted to disagree just got convinced
No
by
one
her.
dares to disagree with Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it, but I got convinced by her.
Oh. Okay. Yes. Yeah, let's move on to next question. Would you rather find a true love or would you find a suitcase with $5 million inside? Nobody from Find True Love?
And I heard a perfect argument in this morning's session. A person said, like, true love will come to you. Like, that's the thing.
With
For
the
$5
suitcase.
million, who is gonna like say no to that? And I heard another one, which was even better. Like, he ain't true love if he doesn't have at least more than 5 million.
Exactly. Like if it's meant to be, it will be. But I'm gonna have the $5 million in my pocket.
Also, do you remember the time they said that true love comes to you, but money is to go for the money?
Yeah. Use the 5 million to find true love. Travel, and then you'd be like, you know, this love stories.
Exactly. We might need the 5 million to find our true love, but at the end of the day, the 5 million comes first.
Yeah.
What if like my true love is another, like around the globe, like in another place that I don't even know where? So I need the $5 million.
There is one person
I
who
just want to
clicked
hear
on
the.
true love.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to check who did that. There were 2 people actually.
Oh,
Was it Sarah again?
Sarah is gonna convince us somehow, Taylor.
Sarah's gonna convince us. Yeah.
She's
Go
a
for it.
trendsetter.
Convince the rest of us.
I have no actual logical reason. I'm just I'm a hopeless romantic. I think that, okay, personally for me, I think that, you know, having a person like who's your person, like there's no one else in the world that could ever understand you, is worth more than money. And obviously I love money. Like my soulmate better have some good money because I want to travel. But I think that having that connection with somebody and having somebody who understands you is so much better than having people who are around you, especially if you're $5 million, you're gonna be surrounded with a lot of fake people. So
Yeah, again, convinced. Carolina?
I'm going to talk about a different point of view because please remember, not everybody feels romantic attraction. And actually, there are some of us romantics out there. And for me, there was like, okay, one thing I will never experience or money that I can use and spend with my friends, because we should also remember that life is not only about love. There are other relationships that are also really meaningful, like our friends that stand by us on our side, always supportive. We will not buy them with money, but they can help us every day of our lives. And they are also really important, or our families. Let's think what we could do with $5 million. We could help our friends, our families. We could fund something. We could make a difference. And about the true love, actually, it's all about chemicals. Once they pass away, we are left with a big disappointment living in our house.
That was so poetic, but so true. At certain points, like, totally agree.
I'm so happy that she said platonic romance or like platonic love, because it was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm so happy that someone acknowledged it.
Yeah, and if we open another dimension, like if you have 5 million, like you have to first find yourself in order to find somebody else. So I say, look at how much you can search into yourself, like travel, view the world, buy yourself stuff, see how you react to that, like meet new people. Like there are a bunch of other dimensions to life. So I'd say if you don't find yourself first, like no amount of true love that other person can give you is gonna make you happy. And in the end, we are not searching for true love, we are searching for happiness. And for different people, happiness are different things.
I think this is a debatable topic. We'll have pros and cons.
Yeah. Elif?
I want to say this. In my perspective, true love isn't something I can find. It's like I see a person and, for example, we are friends, but later on we grow such a relationship together. That's what I would call love. Like a relationship is not just something that happens suddenly. It's something you grow and develop. And sometimes it's a responsibility to your significant other. So that's why I would say I would rather find $5 million and spend the rest of my life. For example, if I see the right person, we might be lovers. I don't know.
Yeah, that's another argument that we are definitely convinced by. Sarah?
I have a question though. Like, do people believe that like finding someone who you love, even if it's platonic, because I believe in soulmates and I think I found my soulmate within a friend. Do you believe that like those kind of relationships, your true love or your soulmate can actually help you find yourself? Because I heard people talking about how like you can use $5 million to help find yourself, to explore the world. But do you think that those kind of relations could open doors for you to be able to find yourself?
Who want to reply first?
Who's gonna answer?
Okay, can I answer first? Okay, honestly, this is completely in my opinion and what is my perspective. For me, I do believe that, okay, there's 100 and it's 100% possible for your soulmate. Like, honestly, I don't believe in the concept of soulmates, but I do believe in the concept of twin flame, So I do agree on that. And I do believe that your twin flame, or what you consider as a soulmate, can be a platonic relationship. Like you can actually find this on a friend. And you mentioned one point, but I can't specifically remember it. But you said something about like friends for a lifetime. Like you can stick to one person as a friend for a lifetime. And honestly, I 100% agree with that, because it has been proven that there are some individuals that do not feel any romantic attachments to individuals in general, and that has been proven by like platonic marriage, what they call it nowadays. It's called platonic marriage. I think Vamika raised her hand after me, so you have anything to say?
Yo, I have her to interrupt you.
No.
Though. Alan raised raised his hand first. So then Vamika, then MK, then we'll finish, I guess. I mean, go to the next one.
Okay, so like, I guess for me, I believe more in you find your own love, like not specifically someone is your like true love, but you can find love within yourself, you know, like love in yourself. It could be the true love of your life, maybe if you're find yourself like not the best person ever, but you got the idea. And there's like this phrase of this poet and slash like singer called Vinicius de Moraes, which he also wrote like with Tom being the girl from Ipanema. I don't know if you guys heard that song, but okay. And he says like, made it be eternal while it lasts when it comes to love. So if you're in a relationship, maybe it eternal for as long as it lasts, truly. Basically that, you know. So I don't know if you got this point, but that's it.
MK?
One thing which I'm scared of about like finding love or like exploring yourself and developing as a person with someone else is that I've seen many cases where like in the end, how it ends is that the significant other is now just following the other one. Apparently their dreams are all the same and they don't actually develop as a person. And like they're just following the other. They don't really know who they are anymore. They just want to please the other. And it all just ends in disaster. And in the end, it's just chaotic.
Yeah, at the end it's all chaotic. Yeah, it was really interesting to listen to all of your discussions because we didn't do that in the first session. We were just like stamping through those activities. But yeah, we had like 7 questions, but since you guys all elaborate on it so much, and it was so interesting to listen to it. So we're gonna skip 3 questions and then jump right into the third activity, which is spotlight on those who.
Okay, so what the activity basically consists of is that you turn off your camera and we're gonna read a set of claims. And once you can relate to that claim and you agree with what it said, you can turn on your camera and then you can explain what was your situation. So you can see it better once we are at it. So let's go. Okay, so out of the order, I have to turn one, like I have to put in this one because we have already touched the topic of relationship. So I say all of those who are single, turn on their camera. That's how I want to hear it. Okay, so we are, oh, wow.
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
We elaborated so much on true love and we're all single. Like, let's say we're all fantasizing. Like we have that idea.
Is Manuela the only one?
I think she did not turn.
Actually not. I don't have a camera in my computer. That's why I didn't turn it on.
Yeah, you can raise your hands if your cameras are not working or something like that. You can just raise your hands if you want to be a part of the spotlight.
Guys, wait, so you are telling me that we've all been talking about true love for the past 10 minutes.
Let me
but
tell
now
you something.
Everyone's camera is on?
Yeah, and
exactly.
2 points to be made. First, we wouldn't be here if we did have a significant other. We were like, oh yeah, NGOs, whatever, like we don't need to help the world. I'm gonna go and kiss my boyfriend. That's the first thing. The second one, imagine how dreadful this would be if I have said all of those who are in a relationship, turn on your camera and everybody stayed in the dark.
This is why we record this forum.
Absolutely.
Okay, I would say we discussed the topic of love because we are those big experts, and as we are experts, we're searching for the best person, and we still haven't found them.
Yeah.
Some coaches don't play, so.
Okay, this was funny. So we can go to our next claim. Turn back the camera.
Turn your camera back off.
So now back to our main topic. Spotlight on those who got vaccinated.
Sakira, which vaccine did you get? And like how many doses?
Raise your hand so that we know the order and say like which dose you got, which vaccine.
Oh, Manuela?
My country just like opened the vaccination for younger people. So I got vaccinated like yesterday with Pfizer. First doses, seriously.
Oh, you got vaccinated yesterday?
Yes, in my country, it just opened.
And you feel okay right now?
My arm doesn't exist.
Oh, oh okay. Leona, we haven't heard you speak today. Would you like to?
Yeah, sure. I got my second dose of Pfizer at the beginning of this week. So.
Oh yeah, then you're fully vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool because I only got first dose for Pfizer. Sakira, can you hear us? Would you like to?
Yes. I got vaccinated when it first came out, around like early in the year when it first came out. So the US had like a ton of vaccines just running around. So I think it was Pfizer, if I'm correct.
Yeah, US has a lot of it. And it was also interesting about the issue of polarization, like anti-vaccines and vaccines in US. Carolina?
I got vaccinated as fast as I could, and in Poland I think it was somehow mid-May or something when Pfizer was allowed to be used on a group of 16-year-olds and older. So in the first week of that thing, I just got vaccinated, and a month later, which was at the end of my school year, I got the second dose, and now I'm 2 months over all those vaccines, and I'm really happy for that.
Was the second dose like pretty harsh? Like what was the?
People say that the second dose is worse, but as I am a person who pulled through COVID-19, for me the second dose was the first dose, and I must say that my arm hurt a little, but I could do my whole training without any significant pain. And the second dose, I didn't really feel it. I just knew I had something with my arm, with one muscle, and it went away. But some of my friends just were really tired after the vaccine.
Oh, yeah. It really depends on people who has like different health conditions. Elif?
So I got my first dose last week, and I have a funny story about it. So my mom was talking to other doctors and my dad, and she was like, she called me and said, Elif, we cannot decide on which vaccine you should get, Sinovac or BioNTech. So I said, wait, let me do a quick research, ask my friends. So I went like 15 minutes and called her back and said, Mom, all this evidence suggests I should get BioNTech Pfizer. So she said, oh, okay. And she called me an hour later and said, you are going to get Sinovac. So I'm like, but I told you that I was going to get BioNTech. So we went and they canceled. So I had to get 2 days later instead.
Oh, that's an interesting story. Okay, let's move on to another question. So everybody turn off your cameras. Manuela, do you have something to say, or was that the hand that you raised?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Millie, take it over.
Yeah, sure. So let's go to the other part of this interesting experience, and that is quarantine. Spotlight on those who have had more than 4 weeks of quarantine. Okay, so this is something we've got from our previous session, and that is we're searching for the record. So if you guys have some interesting numbers, as in how long you were in the quarantine, feel free to share.
Let's hear from
I'm
those.
sorry, but what was the question? You were lagging. I wasn't able to hear.
Oh, yeah. Was I lagging?
Like, it's probably my internet connection.
I said that we had some recorders in our previous session with some extreme numbers of days in quarantine. So whoever wants to share their experience about how many days you have spent in quarantines or how many weeks, feel free to do so.
Yeah, let's hear from those who haven't spoken today. Maybe like Celine, Hala, Michelle. We'll hear from them. Celine, you may take it over.
Oh, okay. Nearly 2 years, because I'm introvert, so it was okay for me. I was happy at home, so I preferred it actually. I could go outside but I preferred to stay home. So that's.
Yeah, COVID was really nice for introverts, and extroverts also became introverts nowadays. Hella?
Yes. Hi. I stayed in quarantine for like 6 months.
Wow.
Yes. To September. And the funny thing is, it was during my IGs. I was just starting my IGs, and then the exams got canceled and all the drama came on. And then I think, yeah, they got, what was it? The exams got delayed to November.
Oh, was it the IB?
Yeah, no, the Cambridge IGCSE exams.
Oh, yeah, exams were all canceled.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is that we actually started it and we got in the mood of exams and all that, and then boom, they were like, exams are canceled.
Fun fact, me and Hella, we both did our IGCSEs together, and that actually happened. And that was one of the reasons why we had to stay from May until November or September at home, like for a couple of 6 months, like more than 6 months, I believe, lockdown, right?
Yeah, from March till September.
Yeah.
That was a sad period. Honestly, quarantine was not my best months.
I don't think anybody had a good time in quarantine. Like sometimes it was nice, but like once you get bored, it's just unbearable, I feel. Like, and the thing Kion said about extroverts becoming introverts, I don't know about it, but I think it's completely true. I mean, you can feel my vibe that I love to talk, so you'd assume that I'm an extrovert. But dude, do I love when I don't have to speak with people, especially these quarantine times, like binge watching, binge eating, and all the binging you can do with anything, literally. That's the thing, like whole summer break, everything, school year, just that. And I think everybody loves it. So now that we have went through all different kinds of claims, I guess we should divide up into breakout rooms for one little last glimpse of the working part of this and assign the duties and see what we have to do with the report. And then we will go back to this main room from the breakout rooms to finish the session. So Vamika, would you please assign everybody into their breakout rooms?
Wait, I'll say. Okay, it was really nice to get to know all of you. Now that we have broken the ice, let's begin working on our main objective, planning for a 1-week writing workshop. Okay, Wamika will put you into breakout rooms to complete the 3 following things. That is, you gotta exchange your social media IDs so that you can interact with each other, contact, and write down the report. Fill out the planning sheet that will be provided to you by your supervisor and divide up the roles like between yourselves. Now I would request Vamika to...
Wait, one more thing before we leave. There were some representatives that were absent that we found, and then they emailed us before the session starts. So that's also why we are recording. So if one or two of the country representatives are absent, you may just divide up the tasks for them. And then when they are present in Discord, you can just tell them, like, you can take advantage of what you want to write in what you want to take part in the report. And then, yeah, you'll be like organizing in the planning sheet so that you'll be able to collaborate with the country representatives. And if you're alone, I think, yeah, you might need to.
We hope for you.
Yeah, we'll help for you. So let's join the breakout rooms.
Do you have any questions? You can ask them. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey.
Hi, Bhumika.
Hi. So just so that you know,
Okay.
My name's Bhumika, as it's seen. I'm the tech leader, also your supervisor, but you can count me as your friend. I'm not really a supervisor. So if you have any questions, let me know. Also, we can just start with introductions to make this less awkward. So I'll go first. So I'm in the second year of IB, and I love doing art. Art is one of my passions, and I love gaming. So if anyone wants to game anytime, they can let me know. My current favorites are Valorant, CSGO, and League of Legends, and even Minecraft. That's it. Does anyone else want to introduce themselves?
You said League of Legends and you got me there. I also play that game.
That's great.
I started playing in quarantine with my friends and then we stopped being friends. So it ended badly too. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Elif. I'm not part of BM because we don't have it in our school. I tried, but it just wasn't there. And I really love learning about biology and neuroscience. I love learning about science overall, and nice to meet everyone.
Hey, I'm Bara. I'm also 16, but most nearly 17. My pronouns are she, her. I also love arts. I play the guitar, and I also songwrite and compose. Right now, I love working on this kind of social projects too. I mean, I really love this little communities that we can, share ideas with each other. And also this will, of course, help all of us in our college applications. So yeah, nice to meet you again. I would love to be a part of this thing.
Okay, nice to meet you. My name is Selin. I am also 16 and I also love science and wants to be scientist. Also, I like space, kids, playing piano. It's also a different culture, really attracts me. So yeah, that's nice to meet you.
So I'm just gonna share the link for the report writing guideline. Here. So I think the first three should be copied in the folder of your country.
Can I ask something? Do we got these folders as mails? Because right now I'm in computer and then I probably won't work with this computer. So do we have this in our mails, right?
So, okay, I'll do one thing. I'll copy it for you, and then I'll give you the link for your country folder, if that makes it easier.
Okay. Or anyways, I will get from my friends.
Okay, that also works.
What are we doing right now? I'm kind of lost at the documents.
Oh, okay. So I'll share my screen. So this is the link that I've shared, and you basically need to make a copy of the first three. I've already done the first one for you. So if you click on it, you would have to change the name of your country and then your names if you want to be been given credit to. Then you just need to follow the guideline questions. That's the first one. For the second one, this is your planning sheet. So you can divide tasks into different people. And then you can just keep filling up the status. From here, you can click on completed and then copy it and then paste it in status. And you can have little deadlines for yourselves and notes and whatever task you're assigning to just see that you're organized. The third one is overall progress. So all the countries will be filling up over here, and your country will be down. Yeah, Turkey. So you can just say where you lie, like what your progress is. So you can scroll up. Over here, your progress, you can just copy, paste it, and put wherever you stand. And if you're having a problem, you can text on the Discord channel and we'll help you. Or if you're working on it, put working on it so that we know you all are making progress. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, also, you might want to refer to the good and the bad exemplar that they've written for you. It just tells you what to do and what not to do, or what to avoid.
Can you ask again?
Oh, what?
Did you ask anything or?
No, I was just telling you in general.
Okay.
Are you guys from the same school, or like do y'all know each other from before? No.
Not really.
No.
Vomika, what about I would just also come to this Zoom with my phone and then copy those things? That would be more easier, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Would I be able to come into this breakout room
Yeah,
also?
I'll reassign you. Yeah, I'll reassign you.
Okay, let me just.
Vomika, I can edit now. Should we edit now or after season says? I'm a bit confused.
Oh, you can edit it whenever you want. You can start right away. That's not really a problem.
Okay. What are we doing now? Exactly.
Oh, so y'all can divide tasks among yourselves. And that's it.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I just need to assign someone a breakout room. Hi, do I need to reassign you? Okay, I'll assign.
Thank you.
Okay. And another thing is you need to like highlight what makes this crisis in Sudan special. Like what made the difference? I mean, what is the difference between COVID-19 in Sudan and what is the difference in COVID-19 in the US? Like what is the difference? What made it special? What a story tied. By the way, because we're recording, we need to talk in English all of the time. Okay. So now that I explained what type of data are we really collecting, I'm going to explain how exactly that. I'm going to give you some examples of how can you collect the data, which is you can collect the data by primary research or secondary research. Primary research دي مثلا معلش I'm so sorry يا حلا, just wait a second.
Hi, Sira.
Do I have to choose? Yeah, Vimika.
Hi, did you read my message?
Yeah, I just read it, but do you need me for anything?
Yeah, can you like join Turkey's room? Because people keep leaving and then they keep joining, so I need to keep reassigning the room. So that requires me to go back to the main session and then do it. So is it fine if I reassign you and
Hello? Yeah, can you?
Yeah, to Turkey's room? Okay.
Yeah, please do that. It's okay.
Thank you so much.
Concerns. School, uni. Now we will stop and let's
No
continue
one
with our
needs to know.
session.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah, I didn't expect this session to be like really personal, and I think we're already so close to each other. Like we didn't expect, because in session A it was more like a formal atmosphere, but this is so interesting. Okay, let's move on. Welcome back, everyone. We just wanted to reassure you guys that you guys have our full support during the 1 week period of writing the report. The supervisors will not be available at all times because we have like schoolworks and stuff, but whenever you just comment or tag us in the document, the report document, we will be able to reply right away, like available. And also we prefer you guys, like the contact means we have our Discord, email, or Instagram. We will send out the email contact information through Discord channel, like the official one, out of which Discord is most preferred, since all country representatives and supervisors just could jump into you and help out if your supervisor is unavailable. And we can all jump into those channels if your question is remained unanswered. So yeah, that's it for me. Seda, would you like to take on?
So I really want to thank you guys for joining today, and against all of the conflict with our time zones and our busy schedules, but we are united here for a single cause. I want to thank our prestigious guest speaker, Naomi, for her wonderful speech, and we're so thankful for her availability to join today. One thing I would like to add is I'm going to highlight on what Kion said is we are available, like for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM us, but please be respectful of our huge time differences, and we might be sleeping, we might be doing personal things, so just give us a time limit for maybe 8 hours, and for sure someone, it's either me or my fellow co-teams, like team members, are going to be responding. Aryaka, I believe you have an announcement to make.
Yeah, everyone, I just feel so grateful for all of you being so cool. I'm going to share the feedback form in the link in the chat. So please make sure to fill it. I will also put it on the Discord, but great if you fill it right now. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so since I was asked to give the last words and they said last words of wisdom, I'm not going to give any because I'm saving them up for the closing session, and I have to be like all theater mood there. So we're going to close it like this informally. And I would like to wish you a good luck. I wish you a productive and inquiring week. I hope you find out something new from this report writing camp that we are about to begin. And we will see each other officially on 5th of September. And by this, we are closing this session. One last thing, I would love to take the picture with all of you so that we can have this for our Instagram story, for a memory and everything, to have it saved. So guys, feel free to post however you want. And please, Vamika or Kion.
Turn on your cameras, please.
Yes. Do your hair, do your photo face, whatever.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Done.
Another one. Come on.
Let's put a reaction.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Done.
Okay, thank you guys so much. This was such a productive session, and I was like more than flabbergasted by all of your different perspectives. And I think that's what we can take out of diversity. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. And if you want to contact those who attended session A, there is a channel for off topic, and you can certainly just tag any of them and just start a conversation, maybe out of Disney or something. Thank you so much. We won't take much more of a time, and I